Alleged child abuse was known to members of clergy in Sussex, but information wasn't passed on to police. It's emerged in a report into the Diocese of Chichester. The report was written 10 years ago after the conviction of a serial sex offender who'd worked at Chichester Cathedral.
But it's only just been made public after a long campaign by victims of abuse. They say if it had been published earlier, it could have made it far easier for others to have spoken out. Our special correspondent, Colin Campbell, has the details.
A serial sex abuser, Terence Banks, was jailed for 16 years in 2001. He targeted boys at Chichester Cathedral and got away with it for 30 years. The CofE report was commissioned by the church to examine mistakes surrounding the handling of his case.
I'm astounded. I've been fighting for this report to be released for a number of years, since I first found out about it. The reason I've been fighting is because I believe lessons could have and should have been learned from this inquiry, and that could have prevented a lot of harm and suffering over the years.
The church says it never intended to publish the report in 2004, as it wasn't the practice at the time.
When we look at the CofE report and all its wonderful recommendations, we ask why it wasn't published and why it wasn't acted on, because it was not acted on.
Yet again, it is a report that reveals allegations of abuse made to clergy here in Sussex were not passed on to the police. One was an allegation of rape. It says one suspected abuser was allowed to return to work as a lay vicar after being told to confess his sins. It reveals 3 men, including Terence Banks, received convictions for abuse. At least 4 others, not named in the report but closely associated with the cathedral, were suspected of abusing children. The Church of England today welcomed the announcement of the government-ordered inquiry into institutional sexual abuse and believes the publishing of the CofE report is a step in the right direction.
Of course, what's in there is disturbing in terms of evidence. A national inquiry would take on board things like the CofE report. That's the first stage of a national inquiry, would look at all those kind of reviews and reports and see.
Over the last few years, we have reported extensively on abuse perpetrated in East Sussex. Today's report shows it occurred across the diocese, as did the mistakes. Colin Campbell, BBC South East Today.
Well, I'm joined by Colin here in the studio. And Colin, the man involved in this report, Terence Banks, he also spent some time working at the BBC.
That's right, he worked as a floor manager at the BBC in London in the 1970s and 1980s. Now, the CofE report, though, says that he met all of his victims at Chichester Cathedral. There is further criticism in this report about the way victims and their families were treated when they came forward with the abuse. It suggests that they were ostracised and treated with hostility. It says it appears the focus from the cathedral was ensuring that decisions were taken internally and the matter kept out of the media. Now, nobody was available to talk to us today from the Diocese of Chichester, but they have told me that they think that this is a case of ineptitude, not cover-up.
OK, Colin, thank you.